Okay, so this lesson is going to be a little bit different than what we've done, but this is going to help us reach our goal. So our goal up here is to eventually get to the point where we can factor an expression with 3 terms. So the last 2 lessons we've been factoring expressions with 4 terms, right? It's already broken up for us. But most of the time you're going to see an expression like this with only one x term, rather than like, in last lesson we had like 4x, we had x squared plus 4x plus 5x plus 20. Instead, this is all combined together and we have x squared plus 9x plus 20. So you're going to see it more often than not like this. So our goal is to get to the point where we can see this and factor it the same way we have been. So in order to do that, we have a problem down here. This does not relate to up here. This is just our goal I wanted to show you. So right now we want to find out what 2 terms will multiply to get x squared, and those same 2 terms will add to get 2x. So all we're going to do is list the multiples of our x squared term. So whatever you want to multiply to get, you're always going to list the multiples of those. So we have 1x and 1x, or negative 1x and negative 1x, right? Because this will give us x squared and this will give us x squared. Okay, so we have 2 options, and now we need to see which of these 2 will give us, will allow us to add now to get 2x. So we know one of those, or they both work for multiplication, but only one of them is going to work when we add to get a positive 2x. So when you look at those 2, which one do you think is going to work? It's going to be this one, right? Because when you add them together, you get x plus x, which gives us 2x. If you did this, it would be negative x plus a negative x, which actually gives us a negative 2x, which we don't want. So when we have this, we're going to kind of set it up like this. So what are we multiplying to get to? X squared, right? What are we adding to get to? 2x. And what are the 2 multiples we found that work? X and x. You can write a 1 in front of it, but it's not necessary. So this is our product, and this is our sum. It's basically what we're going to call them, right? Product, sum. So when we set it up like this, we found our 2 terms, and that eventually, in the next lesson, will help us factor. But for right now, this is all we're working on, is finding the multiples of our x squared terms and figuring out what we can use for factoring. So let's take a look at one more problem. Okay, so now we have 12x squared, which is our product, and we want to add, so our sum is 8x. So when we do this, let's list the multiples of always our x squared term, okay? So we have 1x and 12x, we have 2x, 6x, 3x, 4x. So these are all of our positive ones. Now we can do negative ones, right? So we can also have a negative 1x and a negative 12x, a negative 2x and a negative 6x, negative 3x and a negative 4x. But when we do this, they both have to be negative because this is a positive. We can't have like a negative 3x and a positive 4x, because then we get a negative 12x squared, which isn't what we're looking for. So take a look at these, and which one, now we know that all of these will multiply to get our 12x squared, but which one of these, only one of them will work to get us our sum of 8x when we add them together. It's going to be this one, right? So when you add them together, That's the only one that's going to give us a positive 8x term. So that's the one that works. Let's go ahead and set it up like we did in the first example. So we have our product, which is 12x squared, our sum, which is 8x, and our two terms that we found, we have 2x and 6x, right? Because these multiply to get our 12x squared, and they add to get our 8x, right? So those are the two terms, and this is kind of a way, again, that you're going to use in the future in order to help us with factoring using the grouping method.